Hello, everybody. Thanks for hanging around. Sorry we're a little bit late. Some of us were starving and haven't had a chance to eat. Not me. I'm never
Hi,
starving.
that was me. Hi.
So if you were here last time, you'll remember our Grell we called that chat graciously decided to call Martha. Um, And if you haven't been here before, thanks for coming. We appreciate you showing up. Tonight's theme is wizards and lizards. Um, and I might just do wizard lizard, or would it be a lizard wizard? Lizard wizard? Wizard lizard. Say that 10 times fast.
Wizard, lizard,
Wizards,
wizard,
lizards, in a blizzard.
wizard, lizards in a blizzard. Wizard, lizards in a blizzard. That is
Oh,
a
and
hard one.
gizzards. And if you can think of any more words that rhyme with izzard, we got wizard, lizard, gizzard, blizzard. All right, that's your goal in chats, to come up with at least one more izzard name word. So last week is, well, not last week, the week before, right? Yeah, we had a week off. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so here's Martha. This again was 11 by 14 Strathmore Bristol board paper. Here's the rest of her tentacles. Martha is a grell. And again, nobody knows what a grell is. My understanding is it's essentially a giant brain with some sort of bird / octopus beak and tentacles. So there you go. And this little puppy here, I quickly drew on my board in my kitchen when I had an idea, and I decided to ink up and make some stickers of this little thing. Little emoji there, kind of a vampire ooh emoji. I colored it and made some stickers that I'll be waiting on with some other stuff. That's just a fun thing you get to see. That's
I
a
love
bonus.
him.
And Chet Minton artist, a friend of mine who's an incredible artist, called it a vampoo, which might be a good name for it. So I'll have vampoo stickers at GaryCon if you're there the next week and a half. So, and also tonight we've got a special guest who'll be popping in. His name is Tim Wadzinski. He's an editor and probably does some more stuff. I don't know. Good friend of mine. He also does work for Goodman Games on all their lines, DCC, 5E, I believe. And we've worked on a number of modules together. One of which is Temple of Elemental Evil, which was Original Adventures reincarnated by Goodman Games after the Temple of Elemental Evil that TSR put out in, was it 83 or something. Anyway, at some point we'll have him on here. While we're doing that, I'll try and start putting pencil to paper on a wizard lizard, I guess.
So I have a fun story about wizard lizards.
Okay.
So my Dungeons and Dragons party, even we've seen a ton of lizard folk and whatnot in our dungeon crawl that we've been going through for the past 3 or 4 sessions. And every time we see them, we call them lizard wizards. He'll explain to us, you see some lizard folk, and we're like, dude, it's the lizard wizards again! Not a single one has been a wizard.
Well,
Ghosty Squid says, so if they cast a weather spell, you can potentially get a wizard lizard blizzard.
Possibly. Now, I mean, I don't have a lizard in front of me, nor do I have a wizard in front of me. So I'm just, kind of winging it. Probably not starting off to look like much. Hopefully we can rectify that. Let's see here. We have a first timers here at all?
Hold on. My food is very hot. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing any newcomers right now, but I do see a return of Lori Thibodeau.
Nice to see you, Lori. Thanks for joining us. She was a little nervous about talking last time. Chatting, participating.
We see Dirt Hen in the chat again. I know that's not your name, but it's your name in my heart now. Ever since that Honor Among Thieves.
Who was that?
The name is Dirthen, but I call him Dirt Hen.
Dirt Hen?
Dirt Hen, because that's what it looks like if you look at it. It's definitely Dirthen, all one word. But on Honor Among Thieves. Yeah, on Honor Among Thieves, all we could see was Dirt Hen, and so it's kind of been the running shtick.
Gotcha. Not sure how accurate this wizard lizard is going to be, but what I want to do here.
What kind of lizard are you basing it off of?
I have it's a sampling of many things that come out of my pencil in my head that I think are lizard like. So, yeah. Maybe he's going to look more like a count than a lizard. I don't know.
Who said counts can't be wizards?
Mm-hmm. Start making some noises, I think, here. Yeah. Do that. Oh. Anyone think of anything that rhymes with izzards?
Oh, I forgot to look. TSW says faux scissored.
Says what?
Faux scissored.
It's not a real word. Man.
I'm counting it anyway.
Maybe this is more of a detective. It's a wizard lizard detective. I don't know.
He uses his magic to deduce clues.
Let's see.
Ghosty Squid, we've already said gizzard. We've said blizzard.
Wizard, lizard, gizzard, blizzard. Are there any more? More izzards.
Scissored. NWI Dungeon Crawler, scissored. And Dice Station Zebra thought of scissored.
Okay.
Is skizzard? No, that's just my own way of saying scissored. Weird. Never mind. It's been a day, guys.
It has.
For tonight's show, we should call him Chris Arneson. TSW came up with that. That should be what I title this episode when I eventually get it up on YouTube. I am sorry for any of you people who have been watching this show and haven't seen it up on YouTube yet. I just put up the Valentine's Day one, which was a month ago, and I apologize profusely because I've had a heck of a time trying to get things in order on YouTube.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, it happens when it happens. I'm fine with it.
I'm not fine with it.
I still haven't finished like some of these. I haven't finished up like the snail or to get them scanned and to you. So there is that too.
I
I'm
wasn't
behind.
gonna call him out, but that is part of the problem.
I'm good at calling myself out. So
I'm kidding. I've still got another welcome video that I've still got to edit that I haven't gotten around to because I decided to edit the Dungeon Denizens ones first.
uh-huh.
I blame the Kickstarter. But the Kickstarter is cool, so I'm not upset. Speaking of which, I'm going to post the link in chat. If you guys haven't seen what, or have been living under a rock, or goodness knows why you haven't looked, but we have the Dungeon Denizens Kickstarter still going on right now until sometime next week, the week after.
I think it says it's got 8 days left or something.
Oh, okay. So that would give it the 21st.
Coming up quick.
Yeah, so that would give it to the 21st of March. But super cool, 500 plus monsters. You get to see some sweet art. I believe there's art for every single one of the monsters, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. So, really cool. That's not something you see in a bestiary. Normally you see, like, what's the coolest monster that we can put on page? But no, we've got tons of artists and tons of writers and tons of editors touching this tome of beasts. And, I think, you've got quite a few monsters that you've done for it.
I'm behind. I've only got like 7 done. I've got like another 10 that I've got sketches approved, but I'm still behind on. I got Dark Tower stuff I got to do, and and I'm getting ready for GaryCon this next week and a half. So I'm a little behind on stuff, unfortunately. I wish I could have 50 in there, but I'm just slow, so.
Well, that's no matter. You'll get to see some cool art from Chris in there, and then you'll see
Oh, there's
uh
be some awesome art from a whole bunch of guys.
yeah, Doug Kovacs, I know has done a couple. Uh has Chuck
Brad,
Whalen done any? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess he has, but I don't know.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know without thinking. I can't. I have a hard time remembering everybody's name. I know Brad's done a bunch. Brad
yep.
McDevitt, who also does In the Studio. You can also see, if you don't follow him on Facebook, follow him on Facebook, because you see a ton of his art that he just pumps out. And a lot of those have been monsters for the Dungeon Denizens, I believe, that he's
Hmm.
been posting recently. So lots of art, lots of cool artists. And if you want to see one of Chris's monsters that you haven't seen in the promotional material yet, you can watch the first episode of In the Studio with Chris Arneson, which is up on YouTube. You can see him draw the con the what?
The conflagration worm. I attempted to
Thank
oil
you.
paint it in front of everyone, and I wasn't happy with it, and repainted the parts I did for the most part. But
Well,
yes, you can watch me attempt that one. I was over ambitious and thought maybe, but yeah, the wizard lizard. So how's Tim doing in the waiting area in the green room?
Hello.
hello.
There's our special guest, Tim
Hey,
Wadzinski.
hey, Chris. I ate all the snacks you left in the green room. Thank you.
You betcha. We made sure to take out all the green M&Ms.
Yes, just exactly as I specified. I appreciate your attention to detail there.
Oh,
Anything for you.
that was actually a request. I just really like the green ones.
Oh, well,
Well,
then that
there
was
you
a
go.
happy accident.
So why don't you introduce yourself, Tim, if you don't mind a little bit, and say who you are, what you do for Goodman Games, and maybe secrets you know about me, something like
No.
that. I don't know, keep our fans interested.
Wow. How much time do you have for that part? Hi everybody. Tim Wadzinski, as Chris said. I've been doing things for Goodman Games for close to 10 years now. I don't remember the exact start, because initially I was part of a group of people that were volunteering as proofreaders for the very first version of the DCC RPG core rule book. And then my wife and I were doing that together. And then after a while, Joseph Goodman asked me if I wanted to become an editor, because he liked what I was doing. So since then, I was involved, like Chris mentioned at the beginning. I did participate in some DCC RPG module editing at the beginning, but I quickly moved over to the 5th edition fantasy side of things. So I've pretty much just been doing 5e stuff probably for the last 6 or 7 years, including the first 6 Or books, the original Adventures Reincarnated, a bunch of the 5th edition fantasy modules, and let's see, Crypt of the Devilich, which was a pretty huge and fun undertaking. And I was thinking Chris, I feel like the first thing that both of our names appeared on may have been the Cthulhu alphabet book,
Okay.
in which I don't remember exactly how many illustrations you had in there, but I do know you had that one like just super amazing full pager of the giant Cthulhu, right? You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm not paying you that much to say stuff like that.
Well, I know.
Don't
It's all
be
right.
swinging such big compliments out there because I can't afford them, man.
But so yeah, we've worked on a few things together. It's pretty cool because sometimes Chris will send me images of his sketches, to give me a little sneak peek at what he's working on, which is always fun. And I saw in the chat earlier, someone mentioned they were reading the awesome interview Chris did with Jeff Easley that appears in the Temple of Elemental Evil, which is, OAR number 6. It's funny, when I first met Chris, it was a few years ago in Lake Geneva. A mutual friend of ours named Brian Stillman and his partner, Seth Polanski, they were filming a movie, which is a really cool documentary about the history of artwork in Dungeons and Dragons called Eye of the Beholder. If you haven't seen that, look it up and check it out. It's really cool. Chris is actually in it, so he is a big shot movie star in addition to being
Just as
talented.
a fan / collector, but yes.
So, but I don't live too far from Lake Geneva, so I volunteered to drive Brian and Seth around while they shot some B-roll footage. And I think that evening they had a dinner outing planned with Jeff Easley, and they asked me if I wanted to tag along, and I said, yeah, sure, of course. And so Chris was there, and honestly, I didn't know who Chris was, and he looked a little shady, and he was wearing, I don't know if you all remember the movie A Christmas Story, but the bully, Scott Farkas, he has his little toady, and that kid's wearing one of those caps. That's how Chris was dressed. He was wearing one of those caps. And so I thought he was like Jeff's bodyguard or like some kind of gang member or something. But after we got to talking a little bit and had dinner, we just became friends, and I'm trying to think. We started playing board games together, right?
Yeah, I think we did that a little bit. I kind of came out by you to that. Oh, what is that, Toggle or whatever? They had a game night somewhere out in Illinois. We live about an hour apart, so.
Yeah, there's a gaming club. They meet Tuesday nights at Dirty Nelly's in Palatine, Illinois, called Toggle Gaming. It's just a group of people that have a ton of board games, and you just show up and play games and hang out and have a good time. And yeah, Chris came to a couple of those. And then I think one time we actually went mini golfing in Lake Geneva, and I brought my family with, and you destroyed us. So I think either you were like, you were like the course pro at that mini golf course, or you were, I don't know, somehow you were cheating. I couldn't really ever figure that out.
You never know.
But then over the years, Chris has done some, not only does he, as we see here, he's a master with the pen and pencil, but he also does digital art too. And he's done some funny little Photoshop pranks on pictures that I've posted on Facebook.
Oh yes.
There's one really, what? Go ahead.
No one's familiar. If you're not familiar with my personal Facebook page, I do photo retouching. That's what I kind of do, is more of a full-time thing. And so I like having fun with Photoshop. And when I was getting to know Tim, I took some of his photos and just kind of photoshopped them and had some fun. I'll let you describe the one you want to describe.
Well, there was just a picture I had posted of my daughter curled up in our big comfy chair. She's reading a book. And it was just a cute little picture, I posted for my family. And then Chris took it and he photoshopped like a big giant toothy maw on the chair. So it looks like she's sitting on like a mimic chair. So it was very cool. I showed that to all my family members and they're like, wow, that's awesome. So they definitely got a kick out of that. And then the other one that everybody loved was, my dad has a cabin up in northern Minnesota, and he invited the neighbor over. Do you remember this one, Chris?
Yeah.
And my dad's cruising around on his riding lawnmower, and the neighbor drove his big backhoe over, like the actual large piece of construction equipment. And they're kind of in this picture. They're like the two vehicles are kind of like face to face. And so Chris took it and he changed it around completely. He darkened it to make it look like it was like a midnight battle scene, and he photoshopped in like lasers coming out of my dad's riding mower, like he was shooting at the backhoe, and the shots were deflecting off the scoop on the front of the backhoe, and it was like this huge battle scene. It was awesome. My mom fell in love with that. She wanted to get posters made and handed them out to all my siblings and relatives and everything. But then, yeah, after a while, she was kind of like, who is this guy? Is he okay? I'm like, yeah, he's just super creative.
Yeah, no, Tim's one of those nice guys, sometimes you click with people, and it's nice that we're only an hour apart, but yeah, we thought we'd see if he wanted to come on the show tonight and whatnot. And so you approached me, what was that, 2 years ago now? About doing your doing that commission for your gaming buddies?
Yeah, back in college, I was the dungeon master for our D&D group, which is how many of us became friends. Somebody saw D&D books in my room, like, oh, do you play D&D? And I said, yeah, I like the dungeon master. Really? So we got a group together, and most of the guys, this was in the fall of 1988, and we're still best friends this many years later. So it's really cool. And our group, we named ourselves the Lords of the Atlas. There's an old, actually they're still active. There's a group, rock group out of Denmark called DAD. And they had a song called Lords of the Atlas. It was on an album we used to listen to all the time. We thought it was cool. Actually kind of rewrote the lyrics to the song to be like a chant that the party members would say as they were adventuring. And we played on and off for a while. And then we, real life gets in the way. Not everybody can keep playing and stuff. Some people moved away, and we never really got everybody back together. But I think it was prompted by the pandemic when people started playing online quite a bit. We say, hey, maybe, these guys that are in this part of the country and that part of the country, we can get everybody together. Let's do like a reunion game for the Lords of the Atlas. So that prompted me to reach out to Chris, because I thought it would be neat to surprise my buddies with like a portrait of some kind of all their characters. And so I met with Chris, and I still had old character sheets that I had saved from a 3-ring binder from college. And he asked me, well, what are the characters? What are some of their distinguishing features? Stuff like that. And I think I completely overloaded him with about 5,000 details when he was probably looking for about like 20. And
no, it was fine. The more information, the better. But yeah.
The fun one was the party's thief was a halfling who, and my buddy who played him, Jeff, he always said that if there was ever a movie made about our D&D group's adventures, then he wanted Ronnie James Dio to portray his character, because he was tiny and he had long hair and all that stuff. So I told Chris that, and I even sent him a picture of, hopefully everybody knows who Ronnie James Dio is. Rest in peace. He's one of the greatest heavy metal singers of all time. So the other characters were a little more generally described, but that one was kind of specific, and it had to look like Dio. And so Chris put together a sketch, and he had a very cool pose of them all standing around, and they all had their iconic weapons and armor and a couple special magic items. And the sketch was amazing. And then the finished product, he unveiled. We were out to lunch one day and he pulled it out and showed me, and it was just exceeded all my expectations. It was awesome. And I was Chris made some prints. I have the original, of course, and then the prints, I mailed them out secretly to all my buddies' wives. And I reached out to them ahead of time. I said, hey, I'm going to send you this thing in the mail. Please snatch it. Don't let your husband see it. Keep it off to the side. And then on the day we all got together to play our online reunion game, that's when I asked the wives to hand the envelopes to all. So everybody, we were all online together. Everybody opened them up simultaneously, and they all saw what it was. And they delayed the start of our game by quite a while, because everybody was gushing over how awesome it was and pointing out, oh, there's my sword, there's my shield, there's, one guy had a magical teddy bear, a +3 Pookie of protection that Chris drew on there, and he's like, there's my Pookie. It was everybody was just blown away. It was fantastic.
Are you, Elena, are you able to pop that one up? That Lord? Oh, you did. Okay. Sorry, guys. I can't see what's going on. So thank you very much. You read my mind. But yeah, that was fun. The guy with the teddy bear. If any of you are familiar with my work, I did snag that teddy bear that I did and used it on one of the images that I made stickers of, the little devil guy. And I did a version where I colored him pink, and I stuck in that little teddy bear. Sorry, I'm focusing intently.
Chris, I don't think I realized that was the same teddy bear that you put in that image for the sticker. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Trying to save time.
Yeah. No, that image itself is pretty neat. Like the demon holding on to the little teddy bear. It's cool and funny.
Yeah, that was fun. I know, once in a while I'll get asked about commissions, and I just generally I don't, because I'm so far behind on Goodman stuff. This was a while ago, but it's fun to do, and it's for a good friend. So did you put any of the stuff up for Temple of Elemental Evil, or I don't know if Tim wants to talk about some of that stuff at all, or
I didn't put it up on the screen, no.
now I don't know if Tim, are you able to watch and see what goes up or no?
Yeah, I have the Twitch show running on my phone over my
Okay.
shoulders, kind of going back and forth here.
Maybe you can describe what the scenes are if you, as she puts them up. Since I can't see, I'm working blind.
Do you want me to just go through the ones I have just randomly, and you can talk about it once you see it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds perfect.
We'll do our best here.
All right.
Everyone doing all right in chat there?
All right. This one, yeah, okay. This is what, in the swamp, right? And it looks like, I think that's giant ants, if I remember correctly. And I'd say that adventuring party is in some deep flying poop emojis.
Oh, is that the ankegs, ankegs, or
That's it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I never know how to pronounce that word. Yeah.
I don't know either. Ankeg, something like that.
Yeah, they burrow up from underneath and rip you apart. Now here's the I think the curio shop, where there's some cool stuff hidden in the background. I think it's the top right corner of this image. There's a fun little guy that some of you may recognize. And I do believe in the top left corner, there is another Grell, which Chris talked about at the beginning of this show. Bottom middle, there's a Displacer Beast, which I'm sure everybody who's seen the trailers for the new Dungeons and Dragons movies, there's a Displacer Beast in there. And now here, yeah. And then the next one that I think we're going to see was a couple of harpies in a jail cell. Not in a jail cell. They're just coming down on a couple of adventurers who are trying to get the heck out of Dodge.
Portcullis, whatever.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes. Chris with the big words. How many words can we come up with that rhyme with portcullis? Now here is an Atyug hiding under a trash pile that the adventurers apparently are unaware of, and they are in for a bit of a nasty surprise. I love the details, again, in Chris's work, like just for example, this warrior's helmet. It reminds me a little bit of the big bad guy from the old movie, The Beastmaster, and a little bit of Warduke, the iconic character from the old 80s D&D toy line, who's kind of survived over the years in different media. Here's giant frogs. Everybody loves a giant frog, right? It's such a silly thing, but they're just so cool in D&D. And the wacky elf there at the bottom, it almost seems like he's enjoying getting tongue lashed by the giant frogs. But the guy on the right-hand side means business with the two-handed sword. Again, with the plate armor, the way Chris, the details in the armor, you got the plate armor and you got, I guess, maybe that's leather armor and the gauntlets that the elf's wearing. I always look for that kind of stuff when I see any of Chris's pieces. I don't just skip by them in the books. I always stop and take a close look. Because he's on occasion been known to sneak little Easter eggs into things. So the combination of looking for stuff like that and then admiring all the details, really, it's a nice experience looking at his art.
Well, I didn't really ask you on to to just promote me, but I appreciate it. But how about yourself a little bit? You do editing, but do you do more than editing? That's probably beyond my understanding as just an artist. You do stats for monsters and stuff. I don't think that's exactly editing, right?
Well, I mean, mostly, I'll help out with when the OAR books, are conversions, right, of the old modules from way back. And when I get the manuscript, I do go through the text, obviously, and make sure things line up with the maps. And what can take a lot of time is making sure the maps are all drawn correctly and make sure all the doors and the secret doors and the trap doors and all that stuff that's mentioned in the text lines up with what's actually on the maps. And sometimes, that can be challenging. We actually did find some slight discrepancies in maps from the old TSR modules with, the text from back then that we fixed in our versions. But then, our OAR books also come with a lot of additional content with new areas and new maps and new encounters, which is all fresh. And so to look at those as brand new, but then also making sure that all integrates with the old content from the original modules. Sometimes your eyes can bug out of your head counting squares on maps. But then as far as stat blocks go, anybody that plays 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons knows that stat blocks can be pretty meaty. They can be wordy. There's a lot of math built in. So there's a lot of flipping back and forth between the manuscripts that I'm looking at and the core rule books, the SRD and things like that to make sure everything lines up. And there will be times where I'll get to write a little bit. There's been a few sidebars in the books that I've written where I felt like, this particular concept could be expanded a little bit, or, in a stat block, if a monster's ability or feature or trait or something, maybe the original wording's a little twisty, I'll come up with a recommendation for perhaps a clarification, and go back and forth with the author on things like that. I've been encouraged to come up with some of my own encounters, so hopefully that'll be coming sometime soon. But for the most part now, it's mainly the editing and reconciliation, I guess is a good word, to make sure that everything lines up and it's coming out the way the author's intending it. And one thing that's an interesting part of editing is I take a lot of pride in retaining the author's voice wherever possible. Like I don't try to rewrite things so it sounds like I wrote it. Because our authors, first of all, they're good, they're very accomplished, and they all do have particular voices that I feel is imperative to keep in place. So when you're reading an adventure by, say, Chris Doyle or Bob Brinkman or someone, that it's one of their adventures. Michael Curtis too. He has a very distinct voice. So it's one of the, I think, is an amazing trait of Goodman Games product lines, is the authors and the way they write.
Chris worked on Temple of Elemental Evil, right? Chris Doyle?
Yeah, Chris Doyle and his Talking TSR partner, Rick Maffei. I hope I'm pronouncing Rick's last name correctly.
Yeah, it's Maffei.
Thank
Chris
you.
does some amazing work writing, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, he's a busy guy. He does a lot for the 5. I mean, he's the director of the 5e side of the house for Goodman Games. So he writes, he designs, he develops things. He, from what I understand, last week your show got bumped so that he and Rick could talk about spreadsheets. So he's the master of spreadsheets
Sons
as well.
of guns.
I know. See, I'm not here just blowing smoke up your skirt, Chris. Let me rip on you a little bit. You did get bumped for some nerd talk about spreadsheets.
I'm not wearing a skirt.
You're kilt. Sorry, you're kilt.
Okay. Yeah. So hopefully Elena's had some time while Tim's been chatting so that she's able to catch up on dinner.
Oh, I scarfed that down within the first 10 minutes of the show. I was hungry.
Hopefully you feel better.
I do. I think I was getting a little hangry.
Hankering for a hunk of cheese. That might be a little before your time. The cheese wheel guy.
Oh!
Time for timer.
Tim knows what I'm talking about.
Oh! Man,
Yeah,
I had to reach back into, really far in my memory for that one.
Wasn't his name
for a hunk of cheese?
Yeah, wasn't he called Time for Timer, or was that just something he said? I actually thought that was his name. I don't know if that's right.
But I don't know.
That weird little yellow dude with the top hat, and he had a monocle, right? It's kind of like Mr. Peanut, but like demented.
He had the cane, the stick, and
like Mr. Peanut, but demented. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Now I want to draw a horrifying version of Mr. Peanut.
So Elena, please tell me you were eating frog legs while you were showing the image of the giant frogs. That would be pretty neat.
No, I was eating dirty rice. I had to make something that was quick.
I have to mention too, Chris participated, there was a neat project associated with GaryCon last year where several artists contributed different pieces of artwork that were compiled and put on the backs of cards. So they made a deck of many things, which is an iconic magic item in Dungeons and Dragons. And Chris, I forget, how many images did you have in that set? Do you remember?
I did 3.
Is it 3? Okay. And the one that I like best was for the card called Balance, which showed a really wicked looking knight in, very well detailed armor. And what I thought was cool for me personally was my daughter played volleyball for a volleyball club called Balance. Excuse me, I could try to hit the mute button there. And that card came out right when she was in the middle of a bunch of tournaments. And I was showing it to all the other volleyball parents. I'm like, we should take this image and we should make t-shirts, and it would just intimidate all the other teams to have this be the club logo. I was kidding, of course, but I think some of them thought I was serious and they were looking at me sideways like, yeah, no, it's not going to work. There it is. I mean, it's perfect because the knight, he's making a hand signal. It kind of looks like he's signaling 2 hits. If anybody plays volleyball or knows volleyball calls by the referees, it's perfect. But I think, Chris, didn't they find some more of those decks now? More of them are available at this year's GaryCon? Or am I making that up? I feel
I'm
like I
not
saw
sure
that.
if they were going to print anymore or not, or if it was just a one-time thing. But yeah, so if anyone's familiar with GaryCon, it's a convention held in Lake Geneva here, in the honor of Gary Gygax. That's coming up this, March 23rd to the 26th, something like that here.
Yep, that's it.
Next week and a half or so. So if you're in the Lake Geneva area and you're coming, it's a great convention to go to. I'll be in the vendor hall with other incredible artists and some cool vendors and stuff, and there'll be a Goodman Games booth there in the vendors hall where you can stop by and get some awesome Goodman Games product. I'd certainly be willing to sign anything that I worked on if you come by. But Tim, you're going to be there for a bit, right?
Yeah, I hope so. That's my plan. I'll be harassing you at your booth.
Excellent.
Speaking of, Elena, do you happen to have the picture of the shenanigans going on at Chris's booth last year at GaryCon?
I do, and showing it on screen now.
I don't know what they're showing, so
it's just you revealing that Matt Hildebrand is back there sneaking food.
Yeah, that's a very revealing behind the scenes look at the well-oiled machine that is the Chris Arneson booth at the Artist Alley there. I think Matt was doing Big Bald Matt. He was doing some Wizard of Oz stuff behind the curtain there.
Now, so Matt's the art director for Goodman Games. Another exceptionally wonderful person, very nice guy. And I think, yeah, he's going to be there again this year too. So it's always nice to see friends that I don't get to see too often because they're all over the country. But so the last episode, I did that Grell. And there was kind of partially supposed to be a tie-in because initially Tim was going to be on that episode, but unfortunately he wasn't able to. But that Grell was in a adventure that I played with Tim at GaryCon a number of years ago with Tim and our friend Brian Stillman and a couple other people. I hadn't gotten to play D&D a whole lot, and they were able to get me in as a walk-in on their table for an adventure they were playing. And if I recall right, Brian and I had gone into a room. Brian maybe had gone first, I don't know. But we were attacked from something on the ceiling, which turned out to be a grell up in the ceiling. So I was kind of doing a tie-in with Tim and that grell. There's no tie-in with Wizards and Lizards, but we can all appreciate a wizard lizard. Lizard, right? Something like that.
Something like
Did
that.
we get a consensus as it's wizard lizard or lizard wizard?
I call them lizard wizards.
Okay.
I don't know why them being lizards is more important than them being wizards, but
Mm-hmm. How's everyone doing in chat? I know we've been talking a lot. Everyone entertained?
Lori Thibodeau is saying, listening and enjoying.
Excellent.
And from Teddy Bear Cola, we got a kitty cat with sunglasses on, so I think they're big chillin' too.
Okay. Is that we got two in the audience? Is that what we got?
No.
Okay.
Think I see some other names. Grape Ape came and said hello. Peter Mullen said something, I don't know what it was to, but he said it was awesome.
Well, thanks for coming, Peter. Peter's another one of the amazing Goodman Games artists.
Yes.
Love his work.
What didn't he just do the most recent MCC cover?
Yeah, I think he had done one of those. I like all the Goodman Games artists. They're all wonderful. But everybody's got their favorites. Peter's probably one of mine.
I have a hard time picking favorites because there's something that I love about everybody's art. That it's like, they're all so unique.
Exactly. You're right. I like them all.
But I will have to say the only two artists that I have art from is you and Brad. No, I take that back. I have a Pogue.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I collect art and I love collecting from different artists. And so, yeah, so I've got a number by Brad McDevitt that I love. If you don't have a Bradley McDevitt, go check out his Etsy site. He's got a lot of Goodman Games original artwork on there at reasonably affordable prices for regular people who aren't rich. But very nice work. Check his site out. I also have work from William McAusland. I've got pieces, got some by Stefan Pogue. I don't have any Doug's though. Doug Kovacs. I do have one Peter Mullen, which I love. I recently just got a piece from the Temple of Elemental Evil that Tom Galambos did. Forgive me, Tom, if I mispronounced your name. But yeah. Lots of great art from those guys. I'm just a little cog in the wheel.
Oh, Peter's saying that he likes to listen when he draws. I hope we're not distracting you too much, but I am curious what you're drawing. I will laugh if it's a oh, it's a Dungeon Denizens. Ah, cool.
Nice. I just feel guilty when I hear that because I'm like, oh, I'm so far behind. I haven't even gotten to those yet.
It's fine.
I know.
You've done some Dark Tower stuff. You're not that far behind.
I'm sorry. I think I forgot about Tim. Just cut him right off.
Yeah, you did.
This is
And
how
I'm
the show
salty.
goes.
Mm-hmm. I'm under
No,
the
Chris,
lizard wizard spell, so it's all his
I was,
fault.
hey, Chris, I was going to ask, do you know offhand which original by Tom from Elemental Evil that you have? Which one was it?
Yes, it was Roper. That
Oh,
was,
okay.
I don't know. Uh, I'm not that familiar with those, so I don't know what the Stroper is different than a Roper, but
I think it's just the concatenation of Stone Roper.
oh, that's right. He told me that. Okay, Stone Roper. So if anyone's unfamiliar with that in D&D, um, that's basically like a stalagmite,
Yep.
stalactite, um, with tentacles and an eye and stuff. Kind of like the things I draw, stuff with tentacles and eyes, big eyes,
And
tentacles, teeth,
wings and things.
wings and things.
Just a,
Brad's a big Brad's a big tentacle guy too, isn't he?
and undead.
Yeah.
If
He
it's a
he
zombie,
likes
you know
horror
he's gonna do it.
stuff.
It's interesting that okay, so they, everybody knows the Dungeons and Dragons movie's coming out at the end of the month, and they've published a couple of prequel novels, of course, and I grabbed one of them just to check it out, and one of the key monsters in the book. This isn't a spoiler for the movie or anything, but there's a roper in the book, so that's kind of a fun little coincidence there. It's definitely a classic D&D monster from the old days.
Uh-huh.
There was like a promotional video clip trailer thing that was going out that I saw on a Discord channel, and it was kind of neat. They saw you see the displacer, and there's a gelatinous cube, so my boy is getting repped. I love the dungeon Roomba.
Let me caution everyone too. There was a new clip that was released today on the official Facebook page of the film that has a huge spoiler in it.
Oh.
And I was unhappy when I saw that. And then, of course, it was all over the internet. All the websites are posting, articles like, "Oh, huge spoiler, blah blah blah, appears in new clip." So, like, if you don't want to have it spoiled, I mean, just try your hardest not to see that.
I feel like in this day and age, it's really hard for things not to be spoiled. Just do your best. Like, don't watch a video if you're gonna go see the movie. Just don't even chance watching the movie, and don't even bother watching a trailer anymore. I feel like trailers have been giving away too much of the stories. It's like, do you not want us to go see what happens? Like, what? Where's the mystery?
Yep, I agree.
So has anyone in chat there come up with another Izzard name? Izzard word?
No, I think the last one we had was scissored.
Okay, so they're failing.
Yeah. Well,
They're
that's a hard
failures.
one, Chris.
And I took all the good ones right away.
You
Well,
did.
you can't make it easy. You gotta make them work for it.
I feel like there's one more that we're all just not getting.
We have to be, but I can't think of it. I'm also not good when put on the spot. I
Same
have a
here.
I have a bunch of useless knowledge in my head. I'm terrible at trivia because I have a bunch of random useless knowledge in my head. Please don't make me call upon it. Don't make me try to remember any of it because it doesn't work like that. It just shows up when it wants to. I have no control over what trivia pops in my head when. Bye, Peter.
See you, Peter. Thanks for showing up. Has anyone come up with a name for our lizard wizard?
Oh, I haven't even thought to ask the chat for that.
Gotta have a name.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So Chris, what's your feeling? Is he evil? Is he good?
I don't know. It's kind of a little goofy. It's probably a good lizard wizard.
Is he like a little guy? He's like 2 foot tall, or is he big hulking Komodo dragon guy?
Yeah, I'd probably say 3.5 feet tall. We'll go with that. Let's see here. I was almost thinking of trying to throw some color in on it, but I'm not sure if I'm feeling that brave. So have you been working on anything right now for Goodman, Tim?
There is something that's been in the works for a while called Project Stomp that I think has been alluded to on several of these Twitch shows. That my piece, I'm slacking a little bit and getting that finished up. And then there was a new 5th edition fantasy module that, of course, I can't talk about, that I just submitted back to Mr. Doyle. And I am hoping to get into some of the Dungeon Denizens work. I participated in that a little bit early on because we had some new editors that were new to Goodman Games family. And I had helped just, get the style guides out there to answer some basic questions they had. We were trying to be consistent with such a huge project divvied up among several editors. There were some things to kind of get squared away right at the beginning, but then they were off and running and did the majority of it. But now, as anyone following the Kickstarter knows, there's a lot of bonus content going to be added to that book. So we'll see. And then I am going to meet with, again, with Mr. Doyle, hopefully at GaryCon next week, and discuss what's
Was
next.
Chris going to be there?
I don't know if he's arriving Wednesday or Thursday morning. I think he's arriving Thursday.
I didn't know he was going to be there.
But you know how it is. Everything's top secret.
Mm-hmm.
Can't talk about anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be a rare meeting of the two Chris's, right? I mean, I usually either see you or him. In fact, I'm not sure that you two may be the same person, because I've never seen you in the same room together in the room.
I don't know if he'd like that idea, but yeah, that would be nice to see. There's just so many people that I've gotten to know over the years that are going to be at the GaryCon, so it's to be hard to see everybody.
So I have a question for you, Chris. All the things that you've worked on, the original Adventures Reincarnated books, the 5th edition fantasy modules, the alphabet books, Dungeon Denizens, Crypt of the Devil. I mean, when you're given an art order, do you know what it's for, or they just give you a description of the piece they want you to put together?
Usually, I mean, for the most part, we know what the name of the module I think. It's been a while since I've done anything other than just like Dungeon Denizens or Dark Tower, or it's actually been a while since I've done anything for Tales of the Magician's Skull, which is short stories, amazing stuff. But yeah, usually I think they tell us what it's for and then give us a description. Sorry if I'm I'm failing on my while I'm trying to focus.
Oh, I know.
But there was a time in the beginning when Joseph was doing it, art directing, and he would just kind of send us a PDF of a couple of pages from a module, and he'd be like, read these and find something you like to illustrate on that page and do that. And that was kind of fun because that left it pretty open. So while you're reading it, if something struck you, you had like, oh, that sounds cool, I'll do that. But
so you're able to pick. That's interesting.
Yeah, for a while there. That was a ways back, but yeah, that was fun. Kind of nice to get to do that.
Did you ever have to arm wrestle another artist over a particular thing because you both wanted to do it?
Jello wrestling. That's generally how we did it.
Okay. Gelatinous cube wrestling.
You editors and writers don't have to compete like we do.
Well, there's one more thing I have to, sorry, I meant to mention this earlier, but just in case anyone still doesn't think Chris is a big shot. When a few years ago was Chris and he offered to drive to Gen Con. I said, okay, so he came by, picked me up, jumped in his car, and we're going. And we were about halfway there. I mean, we were well into Indiana. And he's like, oh, I got to make a call. So he puts on the Bluetooth in the car and he calls, and I hear this guy say, hello. And Chris is chatting with him. And then he says, yeah, I'm on the way. And then the guy says, oh, do you need a badge? And Chris is like, yeah, you got one? And the gentleman says, yeah, we'll get one for you. Don't worry about it. And so I thought, wow, that's pretty bold, to be halfway to Gen Con and not have a badge yet. And then thinking, and who do you call to just have a badge? I'm like, what? So I asked him, like, who was that? And he says, oh, that was Diesel. So here he is, cruising down I-65 in his Rolls Royce, and he fires up the Bluetooth, and he calls Diesel LaForce and says, give me a badge. And Diesel says, okay. And he has it waiting for him when he gets there. I mean, come on.
Well, I didn't say give me a badge, and it's not a Rolls Royce. I can guarantee you that. But yeah, Diesel's a good friend of mine. If any of you are familiar with TSR and the D&D modules, you'll see his name in there for illustrations for a lot of the original early editions. And then he was doing a lot of map work and stuff. Yeah, a number of those guys I was lucky enough to get to know back in the mid to late 90s. Lucky to call them friends. Same with Tim and Elena here now. So people you meet on the job and whatnot. Those guys I didn't meet on the job, but met at conventions, and they're local and I'm local to Lake Geneva. So, but yeah, that that was a funny car ride. Tim and his friend were more surprised than I was. I was just calling my friends, like, they usually have an extra badge in the art show that he helps run, and it's been running for years. So, but I didn't realize it was going to be such a show.
Yeah, and then I think
fun time at Gen Con.
no, it was cool. Yeah, and then a little later in that ride, I think I offered you a drink, and I was going to hand you one of my diet sodas, and you're like, like, I don't drink diet soda. It's only champagne.
Was that the Gen? I think that was the Gen Con where I was getting to know Tim's friends, and I was really thirsty. We had just gotten in there and sat down after a lot of walking, and about to play a game, and there was no vendors or anything in sight. And I was so thirsty. And I saw one of the guys had root beer in a cooler, and I was like, oh man, could I get one of those root beers from you? I'm like dying. He's like, sure. And I didn't think anything of it, but the name of this root beer was Not Your Dad's Root Beer. And yeah, I didn't think anything of it, but I took a big swig out of that thing because I was so thirsty. And boy, I about spit it out. Because I found out, was that like a alcoholic root beer or something? Or
Yes, it was.
and I just, not that I haven't had a beer or anything like that, but when you're not expecting an alcohol, that was an eye opener. So, needless to say, that didn't quench my thirst, and I didn't finish it. So yeah, not your dad's root beer is definitely not the root beer I was expecting it to be.
If I remember correctly, there's two versions of that. There's one that's got a higher alcohol content, and I think that's the one that you had. So yeah, it was quite a surprise.
It was. So 20. Time flies.
So, we've got 2 names so far for Lizard Wizard.
Okay.
We have Toby, and we have Izzard the Lizard Wizard. Izzard, yep. And Scottish Jeff is here. So we're gonna have to give him what for. Cause you know what happened 2 weeks ago, don't you, Chris?
What's that? He wasn't here?
He wasn't here 2 weeks ago. Gotta give him a good old finger wagging. A tisk tisk and a tut tut.
Whippersnapper. Jeff is one of our regulars to the show, and he missed it, and we missed him.
And we did say during the show that we were going to give him what for.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was asleep, hard work and all that, but Chris wouldn't understand.
Exactly.
Grape Ape, or otherwise known as Matt Robertson, is saying he's going to fly up to Wisconsin this Wednesday to get a head start on all the good food.
Ah, nice.
Eat
Nice.
Culver's on a empty stomach, because I made the mistake of like having some snacks and then ordering Culver's to the hotel, and I wanted to puke after eating that and the milkshake that I got. So
Was that from? Didn't we? Did we eat at a Culver's at Gen Con too, or?
I don't remember seeing a Culver's at Gen Con, but
What did we eat at? Something like that.
I don't remember. Oh, that was Steak and Shake, and I got
Steak
food
and Shake.
poisoning from it, remember? I woke
Uh-huh.
up the next day, and I was lucky that I didn't have a show or anything until like later, because I thought I was gonna die in a hotel room in Indianapolis. It was so bad. I got food poisoning from that place, so I'm never going to Steak and Shake again. After, or at least I'm not going to that Steak and Shake again. I don't trust those people.
Yeah,
Somebody got
Okay.
upset at the con crowd and just spit in somebody's
that's right.
food.
That's right.
We also have another name from DM Jeremy, Greg the Gecko-mancer.
Pretty good.
You're looking at this on Twitch feed. Most of the time, where Chris has the art positioned, it looks like the lizard wizard is conjuring or levitating the Goodman Games logo in his hand.
Oh. I planned that. Wizard lizard.
Okay, this is a pretty good joke. Knoxwell 2020 says, I saved a ton on my auto insurance.
Let's see. Boy.
So Chris,
Yeah.
or whoever, I'm not sure who would have come up with, who came up with the theme? Lizard, wizard, lizards and wizards, wizards, lizards. How does that happen?
Chris.
I just write down some names of things. I put a list together to help me get ahead a while ago. And wizards and lizards was one of them. And last time was the how the grell are you. One of the times before that was, what was it?
Eyeballs, tentacles, wings, and teeth. These are a few of my favorite things. And it's very hard not to sing that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I just try and come up with something. And wizards and lizards sounds like something easy enough to do and fun and kind of DCC-ish, I think. So,
Scottish Jeff says that your explanation is apparently wrong, that you just throw a dart out into the yard and then whatever you hit, you draw.
we don't have lizards in Wisconsin here. but sure. I try and find things that are easy for me to draw with less opportunity to mess up. And this one, you know, my initial thing was actually going to be a wizard. Then I'm like, well, you know, the typical lizard around the shoulder or something. And not too long before the show, I thought, I'm going to make it a lizard wizard or a wizard lizard. Tie the two together, a little less typical.
Does anybody remember the old cartoon show Tudor Turtle and Mr. Wizard?
Okay, yeah, that's one I'm not familiar with.
Google that one later. Because Mr. Wizard, I think, was a lizard. He could be this fella's grandfather.
Oh my goodness.
What's that?
I looked it up because I have multiple screens. I have seen Tudor Turtle before, and I am not sure what kind of lizard Mr. Wizard is, but yes, I believe he's a lizard.
Tudor Turtle?
Tudor Turtle and Mr. Wizard, and I'm pretty sure that wizard is a lizard.
Now, that's not like that turtle that used to be in those drawing things. You can draw.
Is that how you got your start, Chris?
Nope. Oh, yeah. All right, so let's go over our names again.
Well, we had Toby.
Okay.
We had Izzard. We have Greg the Gecko-mancer. McBlizzard the Lizard Wizard.
Those are all pretty good. Should we take a poll in chat?
I can set up a poll. Yeah. Give me like 2 seconds and I can do that.
We'll do a poll for this one. I'm just noodling around on this guy here.
While she's doing that in the chat, Great Babe wonders why you keep hesitating in that one spot on the left arm.
This spot? Or over here? Oh, I'm just like I'm not sure what all I'm just kind of noodling and filling in and adding some details and what
They're wondering if you were thinking about adding some kind of symbology or something to it.
Thinking about adding like a patch with stitches maybe.
Poll is going up. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm sitting here debating. By the way, I haven't asked, does this look bright enough on everyone's screen and everything? Or does it look pretty dark or?
Looks bright enough to me.
You don't want me to mess with anything.
No. But I'm not the only one. We've got other people saying it looks great. We've got a two-way tie between Izzard and Greg right now. Don't forget, people, we can use channel votes to point things in one direction or another. Oh, no. Oh no, we have a three-way tie.
Uh-oh.
We have a three-way tie between Izzard, Toby, and Greg. Somebody quick,
All right.
roll a d3.
No, Chris, you just have to whip out 2 more, and then they'll each have that one of those names.
Oh, what to do? Now I'm just kind of noodling.
I think you should draw 2 more. It will be Izzard, Toby, and Greg, and they will be part of the Dirty Rice Gang.
Or Scottish Jeff did say his name is Toby Greg Izzard, the lizard gecko-mancer.
I was gonna say you could have middle names. Well, $7:30. You got your other show tonight?
Yeah, so Keep Crawling is on right after this.
Okay, so we'll get you off at 7:45 here, right?
Sure.
So you get a little break before your next show.
Well, then allow me to bow out gracefully so you can finish up. Chris, Elena, thanks for having me on. Chris,
Sure.
keep up the excellent work, my brother. I'll see you soon.
Well, see you soon. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
All right.
Well, he's looking cool.
Yeah, it's not too bad. He's an all right looking lizard wizard. Should probably give him like some flies like I always do.
Then he's a lizard wizard from the Shutter Mountains. Call back to last season.
Oh boy. Well, we haven't talked movies at all tonight. I did go see a movie the other day.
Oh yeah?
Went and saw that new movie with Adam Driver. 65, I think it was called. Sci-fi one, crash lands on a planet and
Oh, that one. Okay, I forgot what it was called.
sure. It was okay. I had higher expectations, but it's kind of like a Jurassic Park, sci-fi Jurassic Park in some ways. But a little disappointing for me because I'm picky, but it was all right. I probably should have gone and seen Cocaine Bear. I don't know, people have talked about that.
I haven't heard anything from anybody about it yet. I haven't even looked at reviews for it. But on the topic of movies, now I do not care about the Oscars because I just find them to be, I just think it's a worthless award show, okay? But one thing I can say I'm really happy about is Brendan Fraser got Best Actor. He won an Academy for his role in The Whale.
Which, have you seen? I haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen it, but I heard it was great.
Looked pretty good. And of course, we really like him because he was in The Mummy.
That's what most people like him for, but...
But yeah, congratulations to him.
Thank you. Scottish Jeff brought up his other greatest film, George of the Jungle.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's cheesy.
Yep.
Oh, it's definitely a product of its time. Encino Man. You see other people. Oh, DM Jeremy brought up a question about your lizard. If he casts a magic eye spell, does it make him a monitor lizard?
Throwing in little stuff.
TSW says that the best moment at the Oscar show was that Short Round and Indy reunited after 40 years. I did not watch the show, so I cannot comment on it, but...
Yeah, I didn't see it either. Didn't get to watch it.
I just wait until there's this YouTuber that I watch. He and his buddies. He's a movie review, mainly movie review channel, and he and his buddies always get together on the Oscars because in Canada you can stream it free.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess some deal with ABC or whatever with them, but they always get together. Like him and 3 other people always get together and do a commentary. So like they'll stream the commentary live, no feed of the Oscars or anything for copyright reasons, but like you can just listen to them while you're watching the Oscars. And they always do a post video like 2 or 3 days after the Oscars whenever they're done editing it, and it's just like their commentary with like clips scattered throughout of the Oscars. Just basically the funniest moments. So I don't care about the Oscars, but I do watch that every year because it's funny.
They have an Oscars bad lip reading.
Oh no, I haven't seen any of those. I'm sure there's some great ones out there though. Bad lip reading can be so funny.
Oh yeah.
The worst part for me is like I can't lip read like at all. Everything just looks the same to me. So I legitimately can't lip read anything. Don't ever try to like silently tell me something with just your lips. Like you got to do hand gestures for me to get the idea of what you're saying. Like I legit will not know. Oh no, you could say like I like your hat and I think you're saying that you want to murder me or something.
Let's see. So we got next Monday is the Monday before GaryCon. Well, the week of. So I'll have to see if we play that one by ear. If we have an episode next Monday.
I don't have a show scheduled for that day as of right now on the schedule because I assumed it was going to be a no-go because GaryCon.
Sure. That would probably be give me some extra time to get ready. What
Yeah.
episode is this? Are we on like episode, is this 6? I don't think we're on 7 yet, are we?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track. When I download them by date. Like, I label
Mhm.
them by date, not by number. So I
Sure.
couldn't tell you.
Sure.
When did we start? I can tell you that. History professor, I know that we need some background music, but let me put it this way. It's really hard to make a playlist of 2 hours of music and make sure that that music isn't too loud over us talking. I cannot find music that I like to put in the background during the VODs when I edit them, so you get no music. You just gotta deal with the awkward silence. I try to cut some of it out, okay?
Oh, I see what you're saying. During the
Like
silent stuff when you edit it.
yeah,
Gotcha.
like sometimes if it's like silent and you're like, I don't know, getting ink or blowing your nose or whatever you're doing where your hands aren't doing anything on the page.
Usually picking my nose.
Yeah. As long as, like, if nothing is happening on the screen, like, I'll cut seconds to, like, minutes out of that. Like, if there's nothing going on and we're not saying anything, I'll cut that out when I edit. But trying to put in music is really difficult when, like, I don't know, I could do it in a studio setting where I had, like, a control room, but it's not that easy to put in music. Audio is hard. And Scottish Jeff is right. Trying to find music that's okay for Twitch is not easy either.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who have, like, gotten copyright claimed on royalty-free music before. So, like, I've heard stories about that. I think that was a YouTube thing, not a Twitch thing, though. No, it was a Twitch thing. I think somebody was like, I remember somebody tweeted about it. They were like, it was some streamer. They were like, I'm using royalty-free music. I even have the title of the song and who it's by in my stream, and I still got claimed. I'm like, yep, that's about right.
Well, it's funny. I don't know how that works because I've seen like some YouTubers and they'll have music in the background, not full songs, but they'll play music, dance to the music, and they're monetizing this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but speaking of YouTube, you can always go to Goodman Games YouTube channel and check out some of these episodes, some of Goodman Games' other shows and other episodes have been in the studio with Brad McDevitt and a couple, as I've mentioned before, with Stefan Pogue. Lots of good stuff there, so go check that stuff out. And with that, we got 7:46. We will let you go tonight so that Elena has a little bit of break before she has to do her other show.
Woo, it's Keep Crawling. Woo!
And thanks again for watching our episode here with the Lizard Wizard. It's been fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and we might not see you for, let's see, if we don't do next week, then we got we'll see. We'll make an announcement, but we're going to be off next week probably. So
we'll keep you posted.
Have a good one, and maybe I'll see some of you at GaryCon in a week and a half. Take it easy, guys.